Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is January the 24th, 2026. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. Hopefully you're having a good Saturday. Hopefully you're staying warm out there. I know it's very cold in America right now. A lot of winter snow advisories going around. I know for us here in Ohio, at least in Cincinnati, the snow has not quite hit yet, but it is looming. It is looming large in the minds of Ohioans right now. And I'm sure not just Ohio. I know it's been already moving through the country. I know some places like already got hit yesterday. I think we talked about this at some point. But yeah, I know flights are getting canceled, all that. So hopefully you're staying warm. Hopefully you're staying safe. Hopefully you're stocked up if you got to be hunkered in for a few days. I'm hoping that I will not be necessarily hunkered down, but I got what I needed. But yeah, we'll get into my whole, yesterday and today. I know I missed a day. My bad. Sorry. But yes, let's see. Let's go over the day. Let's start there. We'll start with Friday. So we got up and immediately I was having some trouble, having some pains. Y'all know I've been going through a lot of foot pain, ankle pain, but that was more or less in my left foot. And overall, it's been a lot better there. Love that. Great. But on Friday, I woke up and I just had like some of the worst pain in my foot. And I wasn't quite sure what it was. I've been chalking it up, at least initially up until that point, up until like today, as like plantar fasciitis or something like that. I was like, something's going on, or maybe I'm just simply overworking, in terms of like my foot and, between working out and at work, whatever. These things happen, but I gotta get to work. I gotta go to work. I'm not trying to waste PTO. Especially when I know I got this like snow death coming and I potentially might have to call off for Monday or whatever. So I go in, I get to work, I hobble in and see that pretty much everything is cleared out already. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But then I go upstairs and I'm checking everything and I'm seeing how dead it is. And as I'm talking to a coworker, it just creeps into my mind like, I gotta get out of here. Like, I gotta get out of here early at least. So I set that up. And I think just the biggest reason was I knew how the weekend was kind of forming up. I'm like, I know I'm going to be going out Friday night as opposed to Saturday night, just to kind of dodge the weather and all that. Plus, it's so slow today. There's just going to be nothing to do, and I'm just going to be anxious about that. So I would just rather get out and, get out as early as I can and, get ready or whatever. And then I realized like, oh, and I can also go to the gym, which is crazy because I'm literally like limping. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I just won't do any cardio. I'll just do a little quick pump. So all this gets worked out. We get out around like 2:30, which is great. Love that. I do wind up going to the gym and I'm working out, get everything I wanted done for the most part. I did a heavy set day for what it was worth. Got on the Smith machine, got everything done. We hit a new PR on the deadlift. I hit 360. Love that for me. I will say I felt a little bit derpy, a little bit dumb, because it took me a second to realize like what the plate math would be there to get the 360, and it just doesn't look good. Like it literally is me adding a 5-pound weight to one side just to make that work. But if I do it the way that I want to, then I'm adding like 225 plates, which is just too much for me, which is what I had tried I think it was the previous week, the week before that, whatever, and I just failed that attempt. So I'm like, look, it's okay. This is, part of this training is slowly incremental, increases. And sometimes it's just not going to look cute, and that's okay. That's fine. I was so happy just to improve, get stronger, especially in the thing that I really am trying to level up, I want to say as quickly as I can, but that's the one I want to see at the 405, right? You know what I mean? So yeah, that felt good, felt strong there. Got on the free weights and that was, overall good. did some core work, and then I just got out of there. It was like one of the first days that I haven't done any cardio whatsoever. And it lined up in terms of the timing, but also with just how my foot was feeling. I was like, level with yourself, Isaiah. Could you get on the Stairmaster and like do the 15 minutes? Like maybe you could walk, but like it wouldn't be a fun walk, But I'm also like queuing this up in my head, and I'm like, Isaiah, you're also being crazy because you're about to go to Northside and do what? Walk around with your friends. And I'm like, yeah, man, but the show's got to go on. I got to party. I got to see the homies, like, especially before the great big snow. So, you know what I did? I had to go. So I got myself ready and went to Northside. It was a fun, chill time. We started off at Chameleon. I got my usual 3 slices and some fries. The slices were a run back from last week, which was like the veggie was an artichoke. I think it had like artichoke, feta, olives, certain kind of cheese, maybe another kind of cheese, or it might have just been the feta. I think it just was the feta, maybe. I don't know. But then the sausage pizza, that was also another one. And then the pepperoni. So each of those were good. Got the Cajun fries. So yeah, that was a good start to the night. Then we went to Northside Tavern, hung out there for a good little bit. Then close out at Junkers, which I got a fun moment to see a friend that I've like really not been able to talk with outside of like the internet mostly. And so to like actually connect with this person was really cool. And really the funnest part about it is that we both have the same name. So we are both Isaiah, both have the same nickname, Zay. And so I just like pop up behind him and I'm like, hey. And I just got so hyped. And we just like talked, caught up real quick, talked about our night, things like that. Got in like a good picture, which is always fun. Got to post that. We love, hitting the squat with the homies. Hell yeah. So that was overall a good time. But like as I'm coming out of the bar, out of Junkers, we're walking home, I'm just rough. I'm rough as hell. At one point in the night, I had to take my shoe off just to like relieve pressure. So I mean, I'm sure my footwear wasn't really helping. But I'm hobbling. I'm a couple steps behind my friend, and we make it in, and they have stairs in their apartment, and I'm just like, oh man, this was it. And so I crawl up, and I managed to get myself up there, but I just realized like, man, this has really been affecting my mood the whole night, and I was just trying to power through it and just kind of drink it away, and it just is like, nope, I'm done. This is it. This really hurts. I need to chill. So had a little bit of food, had like oh man, was it like I think it was just like literally a cheese sandwich kind of thing, like toasted. Yummy, but I couldn't like finish it because I think I just had drank too much and I was nauseous and I was like, oh no. So I had some, and then we chilled and watched some James Bond. So that was pretty fucking cool. Nice way to close out the night. I get some sleep. I wake up. Obviously, my foot is still in pain, still hurting. And, I get myself together, and then I'm heading home. And as I'm heading home, I don't know why I have this urge. Maybe because I just kind of wanted to lick back because I didn't eat as much at HQ, the night, previously, a few hours ago. And I don't know, I was just craving, constant cravings. You feel me? So I make enough excuses to myself to go to Dunkin' Donuts. And I stopped by there, and I got this croissant. It's like a bacon, egg, and cheese croissant. And it had, I think, some kind of jam in it or on it. And it was good. I enjoyed that. There was a bagel, a cinnamon raisin bagel. It was supposed to have strawberry cream cheese, but they put plain on there, and I didn't catch it in time. It is what it is. And then I got some hash browns. So, I mean, it was in a sweet tea. And I also got to say, I don't know why, but I never like their sweet tea. I order it because it's like, all right, I just need the drink. Which maybe I should just get water from now on. But anyway, it's just never sweet enough. And I don't know, maybe that's a me problem, whatever. But it's just like, I don't want to ask for like extra sugar. It feels ridiculous to say that these days. I'm 35 years old. Anyway, overall, a nice little something to eat. Go back to sleep. Then I wake back up again, and I'm like chilling for a little bit, but I know I can't really stay in all day, all morning because I got to go out and do some groceries. I got to run a couple errands, and especially before the snow hits. So I'm like, all right, let's get that done. I do. The grocery store was overall okay. I had heard a lot of stories throughout the week that like, oh, shelves were like out bare, lines were going crazy. So I was a little apprehensive because I'm literally doing it on the day this shit's supposed to hit. And I'm like, ooh, scary. But really the only bad thing was there was just no chicken. So I just got some ground beef and I'm like, whatever. We're already on some fat shit. I'm already not going to the gym for at least today, probably tomorrow too, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, either for today, at least it's because of my foot, but then even best case scenario for tomorrow, most likely I'm going to be snowed in. That's what it's looking like, So that's a bummer. But anyway, groceries were fine. Errands were good. We got everything done and wrapped up, and now we're home. We're hunkered down. We're good. You got all our supplies. We're solid. I'm just really hoping to just use this time to recover, and I hope that like this isn't something bad. I know a couple of my friends are like, "Oh, you should like talk to a doctor. Go to a doctor, man." And I'm like, one, I'm not going to a doctor. Like, I'm not trying to set any of that up or go to urgent care or some dumb shit. Like, excuse my French. Right before a storm like this, I'm good. Two, I guess I have insurance and all that, but like, I don't want to go through the whole rigmarole. And like, I'm broke as fuck. I don't even really want to waste the money on the copay if I'm being honest with you. Just so they can kind of tell me like, yeah, man, you probably have some kind of stress injury. I will say though, like this morning I was like Googling what potentially I could have. Cause like once again, my friends were like, you probably don't have plantar fasciitis. Like, it seems like that's not the right location on your foot for that. And, I'm looking and I'm like, do I have gout? For like literally 5-10 minutes, I'm like, I might have gout. It might be GG's for me. I got King's disease. I'm so Jover. And I mean, who knows? Maybe so. Not 100% ruling it out, of course. But most likely, my guess from the symptoms, and then when I actually applied some like ice and a little bit of just some care to it, I think it is a stress injury. I think I just have been overworking my feet, quite literally, just walking around and still doing like the cardio and all that. And I think my body is just telling me, hey, let's take some time. Let's relax. Let's ice these dogs down. Let's put these puppies up and chill out. I don't know. Maybe. Knock on wood, because I'm really not. I'm hoping it's nothing crazy, nothing wild. But yeah, overall, that has been my past couple days. I'm very curious to see how this winter storm is going to go. Snowstorm situation. I know people are talking a lot of snow. They're talking a lot of ice. Fucking ice. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I will definitely keep you posted on that. By all means, you're a homie or a longtime listener, whatever, hit me up. Tell me your potential snow stories. Are you snowed in? What's your situation? What's your 411? Also, not just snow, just in general, how cold it is so crazy. Like, I'm over here complaining about it being like 13 degrees or whatever. Meanwhile, I got a friend in Wisconsin. They're telling me they're dealing with negative 18 degrees. I just couldn't. I'd be folding. Like, get me out of there. No way. But yeah. So yeah, that's been my situation. You're all caught up now on my Joneses. So yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. All right. Ooh. Our first story comes from the Independent. Suicide bombing at Pakistan wedding celebration kills 7 and injures 25. A suicide bomber set off an explosive vest during a wedding celebration in northwest Pakistan on Friday, killing at least 7 people and injuring 25, police said. The attack occurred at the home of Noor Alam Mashood, a pro-government community figure in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province's Dera Ismail Khan district, close to the border with Afghanistan. Local police chief Adnan Khan said the victims were taken to a hospital where several were wounded, or where several of the wounded were reported to be in critical condition. Police official Muhammad Adnan, said the explosion tore through a building housing members of a peace committee. Peace committees are made up of local residents and elders and supported by Islamabad as part of its effort to counter Islamist militants in the region along the Afghan border. 3 people were confirmed dead on Friday, and 4 of the injured died in hospital according to police. Witnesses said some of the guests were dancing to drum music when the attacker struck. No group immediately has claimed responsibility, but suspicion is expected to fall on the Pakistani Taliban, also known as Tehreek-e-Taliban, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which has carried out numerous attacks across the country in recent years. The group is allied with, though separate from, the Afghan Taliban. The proscribed group has been emboldened since the Afghan Taliban returned to power in Afghanistan in 2021, when U.S. and NATO troops left the country after 20 years of war. Many leaders and fighters of the group have found sanctuaries in Afghanistan since the Taliban takeover. So obviously, condolences to the people involved in this and the lives lost. Obviously, very sad, very unfortunate. But I do want to make a little bit of a side because NATO was mentioned. And we've been talking about NATO a lot this week. Trump, during the Davos, summit bullshit, he was yapping. He was talking his shit. And he had stated that, like, we never really needed NATO. Any of the times that we needed them, they never really came to our aid or anything like that, blah, blah, blah. I'm paraphrasing. And essentially people immediately clap back and they're like, what do you mean? Like, we were there post 9/11. We were there in Afghanistan with you. Like, a third of the people who died, in terms of like military combat, on that side were allied forces who were helping the United States. And I think Trump retorted back later on in like another conversation, saying, he was like, well, yeah, they were there, but they were like on the front lines. And to say that with like people literally like giving their lives up for that shit, it's like, well, one, I mean, you're seeing why it really sucks to be all in for the military. The complex just kind of grinds you out just for guys like Trump to pretty much call you a fucking loser and pretty much say that you don't matter. You were just a pawn in the game, and it is what it is. And it's like, no, man, I lost like 3 limbs, or I lost my best friend in this shit, or whatever. Like, it was just a sad state of affairs to kind of see play out. But in no way, shape, or form surprising, given our fucking president. But yeah, anyway, I wanted to mention that as we segue into bullshit that our president has been, starting up from, from CBS News. Federal agents fatally shoot another Minneapolis resident, prompting a clash with protesters. Federal agents in Minneapolis shot and killed another person in South Minneapolis Saturday morning. The shooting comes as tensions over a surge in ICE enforcement actions and the earlier fatal shooting of Renee Good have the area on high alert. According to According to Minneapolis police, the person killed was a 37-year-old man. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara said he was believed to be a Minneapolis resident. He had no prior criminal record, according to the Associated Press. He was an intensive care unit nurse named Alex Jeffrey Preddy. The shooting occurred near Nicollet Avenue and 26th Street in South Minneapolis at about 9 a.m. as temperatures hovered around 10 degrees below zero. And someone had noted this. I think I was listening to Chapo Trap House, and they said it's definitely worth noting that these protests would be even bigger, even more kinetic, most likely, if this had been happening like in the summer. So it does say something that this many people are coming out when the temperatures are as bad as they fucking are, but also the situation is as bad as it fucking is. So I completely understand. The man was fatally shot by a federal agent, or the man fatally shot by a federal agent was an ICU nurse named Alex Jeffrey Peretti, according to the Associated Press. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz said Minnesota has had it and called on the Trump administration to pull ICE agents from Minneapolis, characterizing their efforts as an absolute abomination. He also said the federal administration is telling people not to believe what they can see with their own eyes. With your own eyes, that's a quote. Mayor Jacob Fry said video shows agents pummeling one of our constituents and shooting him to death. He said, how many more residents, how many more Americans need to die or get badly hurt for this operation to end? DHS spokesperson Tristan McLaughlin said in a statement that agents fired defensive shots after an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. McLaughlin said the officers attempted to disarm the subject, but the person violently resisted. O'Hara said the man had a permit to carry. Federal agents and prosecutors are clashing in the area, and WCCO reporters Adam Duster, Frankie McLister, and Mike Max confirmed agents deployed chemical irritants. Saturday's killing comes less than 3 weeks after U.S. immigration and enforcement agents fatally shot Renee Good, also 37 years old, in South Minneapolis. Now, I wasn't intending to look for the clip or anything like that. Y'all know how I kind of am about this. You know, if you're a longtime listener, I tend to just want to kind of either read it or hear about it. It can be very jarring, very visceral to see the shit. I feel like I've seen enough of this kind of stuff. But sometimes I do wind up going out and look for it so I can understand. And sometimes it just fucking finds me because that's just how the internet works, right? And from what I had seen, you see several officers just laying into a man, like beating him to the point where they like can mob him to the ground, and they just continue to beat, whack. And it's very confusing. I had to watch it several times, and I did get to see it from another angle where at some point another officer just says fuck, almost like fuck it, and they just shoot him in the midst of this melee. And like it was almost like you just see like a pack of dogs just on a person, and then that shot stirs them off and they stop. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand. And you have, I guess, this context from McLaughlin, and they're saying, well, these are defensive shots, da-da-da. Look, all I can see here are several people beating a man to death, Rodney King style, and instead of them, beating this person to death, I know Rodney King didn't die, but you know what I'm saying? They're just beat a person, they just go, okay, we can stop now. Bam, he has a gun. So I don't know when and how the gun is introduced. Maybe there's going to be more context, whatever, and we'll see. We can talk about that. But regardless, there's no way, shape, or form that this has to happen, that this is some inevitable thing. Unless you're saying, hey, we're this administration and we're going to keep pushing it no matter how much we are inducing these reactions. We are inducing these fucking situations where we are pressing on this community. Also, there's other videos too where you literally see the kind of like Arizona style, show me your papers, or like almost like a, hey, we're looking at you, we're sizing you up, we're gonna like stop and frisk you, New York style, where it's like they're coming up to people, having these interactions with people, with fucking citizens, and they're saying, man, you look a little Spanish, you look Spanish. I hear your accent, show me your identification. And if you do any kind of resisting, you say no, whatever, then they can accelerate the situation and more or less detain you, then try to arrest you, whatever. It's just so intense. It's so insane that this is what's allowed. We've already talked about some of this other shit where most of these guys think that they can just come in and do shit without a fucking warrant. And if they don't, then fine. They will set it up so they can get you in a fucking parking lot. They can get you when you're walking around the street. So how can you feel safe in those situations? Not to mention, and maybe you're thinking, well, it's only this community or this part of the community. Well, once again, they can just change it up, whatever, give it whatever flavor they want, and then boom, you'll fit the mold. And what's that accent? You look a little different, man. You're looking a little Somali or whatever. So it's frustrating to cover this shit. It's frustrating to see more people dying. But like, once again, I completely understand why, despite how cold it is, people are coming out. They're fucking protesting this shit. They're saying, fucking get the fuck out of here. Fucking stop this shit. Enough has been enough, for sure. So, I'm going to keep covering this shit as I see it. Keep covering it as I fucking see it. I'm trying to call balls and strikes here as best I fucking can. These motherfuckers are moving just like any fucking cop would. It's in no way, shape, or form surprising. It's just so jarring and sad to see. And you can hear in the people just like recording this shit because like obviously it's like they're just trying to go about their daily business and you're seeing this fucking shit happen. You're like, no, I gotta be vigilant here. And you're recording it and you can tell and they're just thinking, okay, wow, this is fucked up as it is. This guy's getting beat the fuck up. Like, okay, whatever. And then you just hear the shots and you're like, no way. And you just see the dudes laying there dead. So, I don't know. And you know that these motherfuckers are not going to be held accountable in any way, shape, or form. So, that's another frustrating fucking thing about this shit. It's just going to keep going and going and going. So, yeah, like I said, we will keep you posted on potentially what comes next out of Minneapolis and, the specific instance. But, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to our next story. We got to talk about White Wedding. Sorry, I don't know. I only get to use that joke like one time. ABC News. Ryan Wedding, former Olympian turned FBI's most wanted fugitive, arrested. So I had remembered this man, El Jefe, Gigante. Some of his aliases, from the cartel side. But Ryan Wedding, the former Olympic snowboarder, investigators said had been leading a major drug ring, had been arrested. U.S. officials announced Friday. The 44-year-old Canadian was on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list in connection with indictments that alleged he is responsible for trafficking multi-ton quantities of cocaine from Colombia to Canada and connected with several murders for hire in Canada and Mexico. At my direction, Department of Justice agents at FBI have apprehended yet another member of the FBI's top most wanted list, Ryan Wedding, the one-time Olympian snowboarder turned alleged violent cocaine kingpin. The Attorney General Pam Bondi said in an X post, Wedding was flown to the United States where he will face justice. FBI Director Kash Patel said Wedding was taken into custody Thursday night in Mexico, where he is believed to have been hiding for over a decade. Wedding surrendered following weeks of high-stakes negotiating, according to sources. He turned himself in to the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City, and the FBI's hostage rescue team was part of the effort to take him into custody and transport him back to the U.S., the sources said. The surrender was a direct result of pressure applied by Mexican and U.S. law enforcement working in close coordination and cooperation. The U.S. Embassy in Mexico said in a statement. Patel happened to be in Mexico City on a pre-planned trip when Wedding was apprehended there. The FBI director told reporters during a press briefing upon returning to the U.S. on Friday, though he didn't go into further details, citing sensitivities of the operation. Wedding will remain in custody and is expected to make his initial appearance in federal court on Monday, according to Akil Davis, the assistant director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office. Wedding is accused of leading a transnational drug trafficking operation that shipped massive amounts of cocaine, approximately 60 metric tons, through Southern California and up to Canada, Davis said during the briefing. He is also wanted for orchestrating multiple murders of victims and government witnesses, Davis said. Ryan Wedding tormented several people and several families that will never be the same, but today they get the justice they sought, Davis said. Wedding was previously indicted in Los Angeles federal court on multiple federal charges, including running a continuing criminal enterprise, committing murder in connection with a continuing criminal enterprise, and associated drug crimes. A superseding indictment was filed in November, alleging that Wedding ordered a killing of a witness who was set to testify against him in a federal drug trafficking case, according to the Justice Department. Wedding is also facing separate drug charges in Canada, according to Canadian police, which said they cooperated closely with the FBI during the investigation. This is a great day for public safety in Canada, Royal Canadian Mounted Police Commissioner Mike Duheme said in a statement, "The capture of Ryan Wedding after a years-long investigation and this most recent achievement demonstrates the importance of international collaboration and the success that can be achieved when law enforcement shares intelligence." It's almost like a subtle dig saying, hey, it's nice when we all play ball, right? You know, it's nice when your guys talk to our guys and we work together and we make things happen to get the guy. Yeah. Knowing good and damn well that that is all subject to change given whatever this administration wants. The U.S. Department of State was offering a $15 million reward for information regarding Wedding, who is alleged to be a member of the Sinaloa cartel, according to Patel. I love that rhyme. Before starting his alleged criminal enterprise, Wedding, whose alleged aliases include El Jefe, Giant, and Public Enemy, was a professional snowboarder and competed in the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City. So far, authorities have arrested 36 people for their alleged role in the criminal organization, but are still seeking more, Davis said. The FBI is offering a $2 million reward for information leading to those additional arrests, he said. So there you go. It looks like Ryan Wedding's time has come. Time for his reckoning. I don't know. I mean, we're talking cocaine shit here. I will say the murders a bit more relevant on my radar in terms of oh yeah, that's icky, that's gross. You shouldn't be doing all that now. Now stop that. But no, we'll see how the trial goes. Keep you posted there. See what happens. But yeah, we have one more thing that I wanted to squawk about, and then I will let you go for the day. We got to talk TikTok real quick. But yeah, we'll go ahead and do our last break and close it out. From Politico, TikTok lands $14 billion deal to avoid U.S. ban. TikTok has closed a $14 billion deal establishing a U.S. subsidiary of the platform to avoid a ban. The company said Thursday. The new owners will include the U.S. private equity firm Silver Lake, Abu Dhabi-based artificial intelligence company MGX, and Oracle, a tech giant co-founded by Larry Ellison, an ally of President Donald Trump. They will each hold a 15% stake in the U.S. joint venture. The deal allows TikTok's Beijing-based parent company, ByteDance, to maintain a nearly 20% stake. The Dell family office investment firm of chair and CEO of Dell Technologies, Michael Dell, is also an investor. Now there's more recap and details, but it does look like the deal has finally been done. That's not really surprising. I feel like a month or so ago, we talked about this more or less being wrapped up. I don't know. I still kind of feel like this is going to be the death knell of TikTok, because now that we've handed it over the keys to America, and we know that this is something that is very much tied to Ellison now, very much tied to Trump. I mean, it kind of took me back to thinking about the first time I had heard Ellison was when he got into the room with Trump to try to save TikTok, and it worked. But it started this long stall and push and pull, all this bullshit, all this rigmarole. But now, dust seemingly finally settled. Looks like China still has a piece of it, but also this is still foreign companies still involved in the whole process here. So I don't really know how everyone's safer and better or whatever. But hey, as long as everyone can just get back to their doom scrolling, I guess everyone's going to be happy. But we'll see. Time will tell. But anyway, that's it. That's all I really have for today. Also, I don't really feel like shilling. We're just going to wrap this one up quick. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.